Well, Matt, you did it. You finally
Wait, hold
pushed.
up.
Okay.
Just sorry.
Yeah.
If you're gonna sit here and you're gonna accuse me of destroying Destiny 2, I
No,
swear to God,
I
I
was
swear
not.
if that's your big intro again to accuse me of destroying one of the most beloved franchises, you've got another thing coming, young man.
I wasn't going to talk about Destiny until like at least 3 or 4 stories in, man.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
no, I
So
was gonna.
what did I do this time instead of not Destiny? What have I done?
Why do you think I think you did something negative? Maybe I was going to say you did something fantastic. Like,
When have you ever congratulated me for how well I've done?
all the time. I wanted to congratulate you, Matt, on funding
Oh.
a very cool game to the tune of $1 billion. You pushed it over the limit with your generous contributions. I know you've been dumping money into that game. Just like houses worth of money into that game, you know? And you got it to $1 billion funding. So Star Citizen hit $1 billion, I think, over the weekend. And
that's wild.
I think it's still the largest crowdfunded project ever, which is crazy.
Yep. It's got to be by a lot. Like it has to be.
I know. You know what's like kind of depressing about the crowdfunding idea is like, if this is the largest crowdfunded project ever, and I do want to say I haven't verified that in a while. I remember reading that a while back, and maybe there's some stipulations to that. But I mean, does that mean it's like the biggest crowdfunded thing next to, I don't know, crowdfunding medical research, like other things, you know? Like,
I never even thought of that. Yeah. Like over the years for donations and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe it's a little different from charitable stuff, you know?
Probably so. I would imagine charitable donations far exceed that over decades, right?
I would hope so.
Even though we're at decades now for Star Citizen, but you know what I mean.
Not decades, decade and a half. Decade and a half-ish, you know, whatever.
Splitting hairs here.
Yeah, so they hit a bill, which is pretty crazy. My
$45 contribution has gone far.
Yep, same. Just only the $45 I've put into the game. You know what's nice is they refreshed the little contributor reward system, whatever it is, affiliate thing, whatever. Whenever you get somebody to sign up for the game, and I finally got my Star Kitten, which is the Star Citizen version of Hello Kitty, essentially.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got my new Star Kitten skin spaceship pack, so I'm pretty excited about that, Matt.
Nice.
We can fly around in it next time we log on.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Which apparently is a good idea because I hear the recent update is now decent. Like people have enjoyed it. So
yeah, I think now that I don't know if Free Fly is over or if they patched it or what, but
it might be over now. But I know people were saying just the other day, that it was still going on because it got delayed until now.
Yeah. I gotta give it to them every time I see like a video of the new content that they're launching. I'm like, dang, that's cool. Like they got giant alien spaceships in the game now. They got huge like cargo hauling ships that fire like torpedoes at the top and then they like arc over towards the enemy. And I'm like, that's cool.
Pretty cool.
They got all these little snub fighters you can put in the back of like any ship and then launch out the back as like a surprise attack on somebody. It's like,
that's also pretty cool.
A lot of cool stuff in the game. Dope. It's getting there. And one day, Squadron 42, potentially this year with Mark Hamill, Gary Oldman, all these major actors.
Henry Cavill, brief appearance.
Yeah, totally, man. Like, I'm pumped for it, but there's not too much else to say about Star Citizen other than it is progressing. It hit $1 billion and they're allegedly on track for their this year release for Squadron 42, although they might bow out if GTA 6 just drops like on the same day or something.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
I wonder what kind of leeway.
Every company.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of leeway those companies want. Like, do they want to be outside of a month window of GTA 6? Like,
probably.
Yeah.
Or more.
That game's going to just like disrupt the industry for a while. It's going to be nuts.
It's going to disrupt the world economy when it comes out. It will shift and change. The amount of people that are going to buy and then also play, so they're not going to go to work, is going to be staggering.
Mm-hmm. Totally. The CEO of Rockstar, or Take Two. Does Take Two own Rockstar? I forget. I think it
I
was,
can't remember off the top of my head.
yeah, he was talking about. I remember he had a really interesting interview where he just seemed like a really down to earth dude. You're like, dang,
I saw that too. Yeah, at
this
least
guy
a
gets
brief
it.
part about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was cool. Which is not something you expect from, like, say, the Bobby Koticks of the world, the previous CEO of Blizzard.
Yeah, he sounded like he was actually intelligent and also not a psychopath. So
yeah, and like respected the game industry and like
Yeah.
games and all that stuff. And as opposed
granted,
to
this is just from a brief, snippet. So
you can pretend to be human for a short period of time, you know. Yeah, it's like whenever you see Mark Zuckerberg talk for too long, you're like, he's an alien. He's an alien for sure. He's just starts talking like encoding language. You're like, okay. He has just reduced the human population to a statistic. Great. Yeah, well, there's a bunch of other crazy stuff going on. Now, something that excites me a bit is that Epic sort of kind of teased Unreal Engine 6.
They did.
Did you see that?
I did, yeah. In the like kind of lamest way possible. Whereas like
I think the engine is like 2 to 3 years out. So I don't think they
why tease it then? I don't know.
I don't know.
It seems weird.
Well, because they teased it with Rocket League, right? So there's a new version of Rocket League coming out. It's going to run on UE6, I guess. And, they teased the graphics, right? To make it look good. It looked good, but we're at a point of diminishing returns, right? UE5 looks insane. So if they told me that the trailer that they shot of the new looking Rocket League was UE5, I would have believed it. Like
100%.
So that was, I saw some comments about that, and that's fair.
And I'm going to sound maybe a little ignorant when it comes to game engines, but I feel like you actually probably could do that in Unreal Engine 5. Like,
100%.
I'd be very surprised if like that was something exclusive to Unreal Engine 6.
Yeah. And granted, we don't know much about UE6, but I've been researching what it could bring. And a lot of the benefits are not necessarily just pure graphics driven. Some of it's like multiplayer networking code enhancements. They're bringing verse coding into the engine, which is a Epic developed coding language, which will make things much faster and easier potentially for developers and all these other things, So it's like, it's not necessarily like, oh, the graphics are just going to get so much better, bro. It's like developing related stuff.
A theory I heard online too, and I can kind of get on board with this, little conspiratorial, is Unreal Engine 5 has had a little bit of a bad PR over the last couple of years with games releasing, and not entirely Unreal Engine's fault, because I think a lot of people don't understand how to use it properly, and so games come out, they feel unoptimized, they're not running very well. And then it's kind of got this reputation now of not being a really well-optimized engine, even though it may not be 100% on their side. So by going to Unreal Engine 6, they will hopefully have the tools in place to allow devs to learn their systems better. And that reputation can maybe, not stick with them as much as 5.
I think the same thing is the same thing could easily happen again. So what happened with UE5 is they marketed the crap out of it because it was a big visual upgrade. When UE 5.1 and 5.2 and even up to 5.4 were out, a lot of those big graphical upgrade features were still in beta stages for the engine. So when Epic releases an engine, the features are available, but they will be marked as beta if they are not production ready. So a lot of people were pushing these systems into fully product ready games, and they weren't well optimized. They didn't have all the features, all that stuff. It's a little bit of developers' fault, a little bit of Epic's fault, because Epic's trying to market it and make their new engine look as amazing as possible. Then a studio head who's maybe not in the engine every day or like doing the research himself is like, well, guys, these Lumen looks amazing. Put it in the game. And then just like gives the orders from top down, and they don't do the research. They build the whole game around Lumen, and then the game runs like absolute crap, Right. And even now, Unreal Engine 5.8 is launching. It's in the preview phase, and that's coming out with a major Lumen optimization, 8 versions later. So it's sort of like the early version of any engine is probably going to have similar issues. So when UE6 drops, I don't think people should be adopting it right away, and I think that's a little bit of what happened with UE5 is early adopters got screwed over a little bit. And now the tech is maturing. And so by the time UE6 comes out, UE5 is probably going to be an excellent engine to develop on across the board. And I think it's already in this stage right now where it's ironed out most of the big issues, and now you can develop on it pretty reliably. I mean, there's plenty of amazing games that we're playing right now on UE5 that look great and feel great. You know, Subnautica is one of them.
A lot of game of years have one on that engine, so
yeah,
or at least a couple, right?
Yep. So anyway, UE6 coming at some point, and I guess Rocket League is going to be the first game to run on it to a degree. Potentially Fortnite. Fortnite's probably some weird hybrid system at this point. It's become its own beast essentially. But yeah, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
So,
but it is a couple years away. You know what's not a couple years away is Destiny 2's last update. Damn, you're going to do that? That's mean.
Speaking of which, why did you shut it down, Matt? Why did you pull the plug?
My inner machinations just have, come to fruition.
Yeah. Things are, man, I wish I could say something nice about Bungie. It's nothing good is happening for them.
Without a doubt, this was mismanagement on the top of, for the people at the top, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they had such a big franchise and they squandered it like this is like, that's got to be the fault of someone, right? Like, this is just slip away. Mm-hmm. I do think that the final shape, that was the final DLC, the big one, right? I believe with the Witness. I think it was called that.
The shape of something? No. I was going to say the shape of water. Oh, Ed Sheeran? Yeah, I like it. I was going to say the shape of water. Isn't that like a movie? I think it's the final shape. Yeah.
Let me just Google it real fast. And the Witness, the whole Witness final conclusion of the Darkness and Light saga. And I think a lot of people, me included, once that concluded, were like, okay, thanks for the fun. I'm not coming back, right? Like, I enjoyed my ride, but now we're getting into a new chapter and I don't want to invest into a new chapter. I'm just out. And I think that happened to a lot of people, right?
That was like Avengers Endgame effect or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
When it drops, you're 100%. Just like, well, okay, that was like 30 movies in the making or something like that. And I think we're good now. Everybody good? All right. Bye, Marvel.
And as we're seeing, Marvel, to some extent, is also squandering the potential too. But I think it's because there's just not as much interest in the superhero kind of thing going now. So I think it is playing into that, but also I just think they dropped the ball with their updates after the fact, after Final Shape. What I have been saying for a while, not to say I'm a prof or anything like that, but I think a lot of people assumed is that when Final Shape dropped, that should have probably been the end of Destiny 2. I know there's people that are like, no, I want all my gear that I've collected for years. I get that investment. I want that to go over to the, I want that to be something I can use for years and years to come. But imagine if they announced, hey, that's the end of this saga. We're working on Destiny 3. We'll be back in a couple of years because we've already been working on it for a couple of years now in the background. We haven't been talking about it. We're going to come to you with Destiny 3 in, 2027, 2028 or something like that. That would have been big.
Yeah.
But they don't have that.
Or have Destiny 3 almost ready to go. Like 1 year out, right?
Yeah.
And then, that would have been the way to plan it. Live service sequels are really hard, right? I think it's a little bit of companies have tripped in this many ways. I mean, Overwatch is one of the notorious ones, right? Where they're just like, Overwatch 2, and everybody's like, nah. And so it's really hard to pivot from like, here's my live service game. Although I would argue that Destiny kind of follows a little bit more of the action RPG model, like a Diablo style game where you're still excited for the seasons and the updates and all that. And then when the next one comes out, you're kind of like ready to move on at that point. You've done your grinding, you've built all your characters, you feel completed with it and you're ready to move.
A big issue with I feel like Destiny is they didn't really have a good cohesive vision between season to season to season and like keeping things engaging and keeping things structured, because a new player jumping in for the first time, it is literally chaos. Like you can't even play the original Destiny 2 storyline. Like when it
that was always
out.
So confusing to me why they got rid of old content. Everybody unanimously was like, this is a bad idea. Like, why are you getting rid of it? Just evolve the story, add more chapters atop the original content, not in place, absolutely ridiculous.
So it really felt disjointed, and it didn't feel like they had this vision of going from like start to finish, right?
Yeah.
And I think that also hurt them in the long run too. It's just a lot, like I said, just a lot of just weird management decisions, and but it had, Destiny 2 had its moments. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was bad.
Which was the good update? Was it the shape of things or the something? The final shape
of you. The
shape
final
of
shape
you.
was good. Yeah,
what was
I think that was pretty well
latest song?
received.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had good.
Well, they
updates
hit like
throughout.
400,000 concurrent, I believe, like years and years after they launched, when some of their big patches came out. And so like the game was obviously coming back and hitting a good stride. And it's like, how do you blow that? Essentially, they just kind of like had a great situation where like, all right, so you guys want to screw everything up, and they somehow managed to. Sony is reporting a $765 million annual loss, I believe, tied to Bungie assets. So obviously some of that's Marathon related. In fact, I would imagine that when it comes to Destiny isn't necessarily losing them a ton, but it's probably also not making them a ton at this point. So yeah, Marathon was a huge investment. They're down massively with Bungie, which they bought for like $4 billion or something like that.
Something crazy.
Crazy. Now they're losing money. Bungie seems to indicate that they're all in on Marathon, and they're going to try and sort of bring it back. And I don't want to say that's not possible, but it's a tough market, man. It'll
be challenging.
Yeah, and I mean they're going to be going up against Arc Raiders while all of this happens, and Arc Raiders is going to be building out their content as well. So
yep.
We'll see what happens. I hope Bungie doesn't evaporate, but as we've said
before,
before,
there will probably be layoffs. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, actually, there's already rumors that they were planning some fairly big layoffs at the studio.
It sucks.
And I think rumors also reported that Destiny 3 wasn't even greenlit yet.
It's not. No, that's not even in like.
Which is insane.
The planning stages. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know we have the 2020 vision of I can't even think of the right word right now. We know where we are today, so it's easy to say what they should have done in the past. But
hindsight. 2020. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. They should have had that thing cooking for at least a couple of years now. And the fact that they didn't, I think, is just such a bizarre. Maybe they were just like, we want to move and do something different, right? We're passionate about Marathon, and that's why we're putting all of our eggs into that, because we're really excited about it, and that's fair, because you want your artists and you want people making games excited about what they're making. But from a Destiny standpoint, obviously, that's not great news.
Yep. And many people pointed out too. Many Destiny fans pointed out when Marathon came out, we're like, that's cool that you're making this game. It's not for me, because Marathon is not really a direct crossover for Destiny players.
It's not. And
many Destiny players were like, it looks like a neat game, but I'm not interested, guys. And that was like fair criticism, because you're like, you make a game for your audience, Destiny or Bungie. Got too many names today, man. Tripping over all the names. Marathon, Bungie, Destiny. But yeah, anyway, I think it's going to be a tough couple of years for Bungie, assuming that Sony doesn't pull the plug on the whole studio.
We're going to get a Destiny 3 at some point. It just depends on who makes it at this point.
Right, because I mean, Halo's not made by Bungie anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're not. Sony did not buy Bungie and their intellectual property to just let Destiny die forever, I imagine. I think it's going to be something that they do eventually get back to, but who will make it and when it will come out remains a big question.
Yeah. It kind of blows my mind that they acquired the studio for $4 billion based solely on Destiny. You're like, dang, you didn't even get Halo with that? Like, that sucks.
Well, yeah, but I think it's because they had other games probably cooking in the background. And I think the person that's, the upper management that sold it to Sony was like, hey, we got all these things cooking right now. And this is going to be a lot of money for you.
Give me a fantasy game, dude. The Myth series. That'd be sick. Revive the Myth series. Then I'll be back on board.
I'm not saying those games are actually ever going to come out. I'm just saying that they probably were working on some side projects, right? And they probably haven't gone anywhere. I think, so.
Yeah, it was probably also based on like, hey, you think Destiny 2 made a lot of money? Wait until you see Destiny 3. It's like, that's not even in the works, guys. What are you buying? Yeah. Hey, speaking of studios, maybe recovering, maybe going further down the drain. It's hard to tell with Ubisoft. But they've confirmed that there's more Assassin's Creed in the works, more Far Cry in the works.
You're telling me their biggest established franchises are still coming out? That's crazy.
Huge surprise. Another Ghost Recon is in the works.
Okay. All right.
And then they sort of did a thing which sort of feels like the Ubisoft NFT thing. I imagine most studios have this in the works, but I almost feel like you just got to launch these games rather than talking about them, because they have a new game project that they're calling Teammates, which is basically a generative AI game. So it's one of those, and I saw a lot of this when I was at GDC this year. Basically these prompt-based games where you can go in and you start building the game yourself. And they give you the tools. So maybe you're a character, right? You're already a character. The world has some rules to it. Maybe it's a fantasy world or something. But now you're like, I want a dragon and I want an adventure and I want the main character in this adventure to be named this and I want the villain to be named that and I want, and all of a sudden you start building the world. And from a certain standpoint, it is kind of cool tech. But Ubisoft has basically said they're making a huge system based around this tech, with like worlds that can adapt to player behavior, AI NPCs. It sounds like one of those things. Obviously, they're getting some backlash for this announcement.
Obviously.
But it sounds like one of those things that whenever Ubisoft talks about some big new idea, I mean, how many times has it gone well for them? You know? So
that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
Yeah. And it's not to say it couldn't be huge. I honestly do think, because yes, there's a lot of AI backlash, but there's also a lot of young people who are getting into gaming that are surrounded by AI content who are not quite aware of the impacts that AI is having on society. So they don't have any kind of opinion about it to a degree. They just load up a game and they're like, well, this is a cool game. Look, I can tell it to do whatever I want. And the game does it. And like, that could easily dethrone Roblox or Fortnite or whatever as these like massive content creation pools that young gamers can get into and start building whatever world they want. So I think that is without question one of the future mega hit games. And I think we have like 4 to 5 major studios really competing to try and be the first one to do it. And I think Roblox and Fortnite are in a position to take advantage, but who knows? Maybe if Ubisoft gets it going fast enough, they can do it as well. But I don't think that market. I think that market's going to be like Roblox, and that one game is just going to dominate the whole thing, and everybody else is going to be like, dang, I wish we had thought of that first.
I wish we did that, and that's what they're banking on.
Yeah.
It sounds like a giant mess to me from my perspective.
Have you played Roblox? That's how I would describe the game to anybody. It's a giant mess. Like,
yeah.
That somehow is like appealing to every kid.
So what you're saying is that people would basically use this AI platform game like a Roblox to make their own games inside of it, and then people would go in and play these AI generated games.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. It sounds like Roblox, but without, requiring people to actually know coding and stuff, and that would make it more accessible, which opens it up to more people, right? But it sounds messy.
Think about the the dungeon master relationship, right? So you like Matt, you're like developing your adventure and you're like, hey man, come and play my adventure, bring your friends. I'll be DMing a little bit, but like I built it over the weekend or something, we get in and we're like, whoa, there's dragons everywhere. This is sick, Matt. Like, nice work. I can imagine that being absolutely some sort of future game format. And it doesn't have to be designed specifically with like, it can only be a D&D game. It can be that open format thing where people can start developing it. One of the things I actually wanted to talk about today was, so my son, who's 8, he was playing at a friend's house, and his friend was showing him a game that he made with AI.
That he made
8 years old.
AI. Okay.
Yeah. Now, granted, his dad helped him make it, right? But
yeah.
This is a thing that's happening at people who are not even 10 years old yet, where they're like,
Right.
they're playing games, they see the potential of AI, and they're like, oh, cool. Their imaginations are on fire. They're like, let's do something. So my son came home and he's like, I want to build a game with AI. And I was like, okay, let's see how hard it is. I'm not kidding.
Out, yeah.
30 minutes later, we had a game that was what he wanted to build. It was like, I want to be a ninja in the desert and we're going to be fighting goblins. And then there'll be little cactuses and you have to go eat the cactuses to get your health back. And I was like, okay. And I'm not kidding you. The premise that I gave, we used Google Gemini or something to build it. We built it as like a little HTML5 game. So it's just an HTML file. The premise I gave it did not sound much more complex than that. I added a few little qualifiers in as we needed some more logic, like side scrolling and other stuff like that. But I mean, I'm not kidding. 30 minutes and he was literally playing the game. So, I mean, we're already at that point. Now imagine that, but integrated into a much more cohesive engine that I don't need to. I did some stuff for it. Like I was dragging some sprites into a folder and I was like, use these sprites for the ninja animation. People put free sprites online for like a 8-bit character animation. You just drag it in. And you're like, make it animate that for the attack sequence. And it's like, it does it all for you. And you're like, holy crap.
Right.
Like we're at an insane spot right now. So I'm just like, of course this is the future. Of course.
There's so many mixed feelings going through me because on the one hand, I'm like, I can see how this would make it more accessible for people to be able to use their own imagination to make what they want. But the other part of me is like screaming like, no, this feels wrong. Right. So I don't know how I feel about all this.
I know it's super weird. And I mean, we did it because like he saw his friends do it. And so I'm like, okay, the kids are doing it and he wants to do it. So that is the world that kids are going to grow up in, is an AI assisted world. So while we're kind of rebelling against this notion, there is no rebellion at the younger ages. And that will be like, even if we're like, no, Ubisoft, don't make this game.
Become adopted because they'll be getting older and they'll be like, why are you guys are being boomers right now? Just like, this is the future. What do you mean? You're hesitant. I hear you.
It's like when the Star Wars prequel movies came out and everybody's like, these suck. But all the kids who saw it and it was their first Star Wars movie were like,
this is great.
This is great. And then we got old and we're like, curmudgeon-y about it. And now it's like how Star Wars is. And they're like,
and now they're saying that about the sequels. And the kids are like, this is great. Well, maybe some of them.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, regardless of how destructive AI is and how much we don't like it from an economic and creative and copyright infringement perspective.
Just ignoring all those massive problems.
I'm not ignoring it. I'm saying we don't matter.
No, I know. I'm poking fun at the premise. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're definitely going down it's inevitable, in my opinion. It's happening for sure. It's just a matter of who makes that tech first.
And frankly, I don't disagree. I just hope that we, have roadblocks in place to try and guide things in a direction that are more friendly to, people. Yeah. And protect people. And so we'll see.
Yeah, the current because I'm making a game, I've obviously researched a lot more of like copyright infringement and stuff like that when it comes to game stuff, and it is really crazy how lax, and I don't even know if this is the wrong solution, but how lax the system is over protecting ideas in game development, because it really only protects like imagery and specific naming and stuff like that. So if you made, Star Wars and you're like, check out my cool new game, it's Star Wars, it's got a character named Darth Vader and we've got lightsabers, and I make a game and I'm like, we have beam swords and there's a character called Dark Helmet in it, and we have these cool space fighters that have 5 wings, not 4 wings, but they have 5 wings that fold out. And, like, I could just copy everything you did as long as it's not like within this weird realm of like, oh, that looks just like that, Kind
of, yes. Yeah. I mean, because in the one hand, I think if copyright can be taken too far, where it just stifles innovation, it stifles creativity. because I'm reading a book right now where they basically use lightsabers. They're not called lightsabers, and they look a little bit different, but they're effectively, it's a sword that can basically cut through anything, right?
Yeah.
Because it's sci-fi. It's super cool, right?
Yeah.
But if they weren't allowed to have that, like now that, because it's used as a story device, it's used as this, a thing that they use throughout the entire story. If you didn't have that, like now they like you just can't use swords anymore, right? Like it sucks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, so when like I don't know, Vampire Survivors came out, there's been like a billion clones of that game. Right. Since it launched, and it didn't launch that long ago, and there's probably been like 1,000 clones of it, and some of which I really like now, and it's become a genre. But with AI backing the idea that we can copy the idea of any game out there, but now AI could probably do that in a matter of months.
See what you're saying.
I
see what you're saying, yeah.
So I'm saying you could come out with an amazing game and a new idea, and there could be competitors on the market within months potentially stealing your thunder. If as a developer showcasing my development process, that worries me, of course, because I'm like, holy crap, somebody could like AI my game before I even launch it, so it's like people aren't going to talk about their projects that they're building until they're like ready to ship it. What if somebody on their team leaks the info about their game and then somebody else copies it before they even get to market? It's like unrecord. This happens even without AI. With like that game Unrecord, they released 2 college kids made body cam and launched it and made a shitload of money.
A ton of money. They've been super successful with it.
Super successful. And when I made a video,
isn't even out yet.
Unrecord's not even out yet. And when I made a video on body cam, people were like, wait, this isn't Unrecord? Everybody was like, holy crap. And so it's like, we're getting into a weird area of where I think these tools could be used to a pretty detrimental effect, because our copyright ideas and laws are kind of based on a world in which this tech didn't exist. So they were more or less adequate for the most part. Now things are getting so fast to copy and replicate that they're just like, can we just steal everybody's ideas and replicate it immediately? Because that's kind of what's going to happen, I think.
I mean, we're into law territory and copyright, and that's definitely not my expertise. So the only thing I say is, I don't want you want obviously to protect people's ideas. That's without a doubt. They're putting their time in their effort. You should reward them so that they can be, they can have that revenue. But also at the same time, I don't want to have like a, what was it called? The Mordor games, the Shadow of War, right? Yeah. Where they had their entire that system, and can't use it. You can't use their system at all. And it would have been so cool to have that in other games. But it's like, no, sorry, we're not going to use it either. So get wrecked.
And the Mordor thing is really interesting too, because I've seen debates where they say that's, if people started to challenge that in court, it wouldn't hold up, and other things like that, where like sometimes the Copyright Office is like, I don't know, I guess. And then they're sort of just taking an idea.
But then you're in legal battles, right? And people will avoid that.
Sure. But yeah, it does get to an interesting place where it's like, if somebody challenged them and won in court, and this is how things change, is somebody finally one day is like, screw it, I'm going to fight these guys. Then they win, and then the whole paradigm changes about what we can and can't copyright and the law around it.
It was the Nemesis system. I believe that's what it was called.
Yeah, like sort of an evolving enemy system. And it's a cool idea.
Really cool. Yeah. It's very cool.
Cool idea. People argued that it had already been done before in different ways. And so, it's already kind of one of those weird things where you're like, it's sort of your idea, but not totally your idea,
Yeah. Like if you were able to copyright first-person shooters back in the day, right? Like we wouldn't have any of the games we have today, or at least not the same landscape.
Yeah, that's true. 100%. And it's like, once Wolfenstein comes out or Doom comes out or whatever, and somebody makes another version of that, like Marathon wouldn't have come out,
right? If
we couldn't copy the sort of same ideas.
Marathon.
Yep, the original Marathon, which has a wild story, by the way. That's back when like the writing and sci-fi games back in the day, I think took a lot bigger risks with some of their writing. Like they went really wild with the stuff, because a lot of the narrative stuff, they couldn't do amazing cutscenes and all this other stuff. So they're like, yeah, here's the backstory. And then you're just reading little PDAs as you go. And you're like, wow, this universe is crazy. I mean, I'll never see it on screen, but
you can imagine it.
I can imagine it. Yeah. So I can't remember if this was leaked, or I think it's sort of leaked, or internal reporting from people inside of Sony were saying that basically Sony's locking down PC ports of single player games and saying, yeah, we're gonna back off from this. Like,
that was a rumor leak. I don't think I don't think anything like that has been officially confirmed.
Okay. So yeah, a rumor leak. There has been a lot of, because this was reported on some fairly big gaming news sites. I think there is some validity to it, in the sense that, like, they make sure these people are actually working at Sony in a position of power or on a big dev team or whatever. And they're like, okay, like this is what they're saying they heard, that Sony's basically backing out from porting their single player exclusives to PC. So they will once again become Sony only game or PlayStation only games. And this is a pretty big course change. We very much celebrated the PC releases when Sony started doing it, because I mean, I don't even own the latest PlayStation, so some of those games it was nice to have the option to play it on PC and try them out for the first time. And I'm sure a lot of their games were hitting bigger audiences because of it. But why buy a PlayStation if the PC eventually can play everything?
I think there's that. There's we need more people to be invested in our platform. But apparently they weren't really selling very well on PC, right? Like the numbers that was the excuse. Right. But you could also argue, because a really good counterpoint to this is Forza just came out on PC day one alongside Xbox, and guess how well it's doing? Incredible. Right. So if you come out with a PlayStation exclusive also on PC day one, and you don't wait 2 years for it to release after everyone's like, well, no, I've moved on. We've all moved on. This isn't in the media. This isn't in the hype. So of course we're not as much interested in it. And so of course you're not going to sell as much, right?
I think Sony knows this, and I think they just threw that line out there as an excuse.
Probably.
Because this is not hidden information in the publishing world. This is like, yes, if you don't simultaneously relaunch on both platforms, the next platform that launches will see massively reduced sales for a myriad of reasons, most of which are fairly obvious to anybody just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So Sony knows this. I think they threw that line out there to be like, see, our porting strategy totally isn't working and it's not financially successful. And then we're all like, I think you just want to bring it back to save your platform. You want to be a competitive gaming platform that controls a big portion of the market, because there's a crap load of money in that, right? Being able to take 30% cut of all game sales on your platform, and having an entire gaming ecosystem that you control. If Valve has proven that is massively profitable to control an entire gaming ecosystem. Sony is going, I don't think we want to give that up, and we'll come up with whatever excuse we need to give the public about why we're going.
They're also probably scrambling because they've put so much money into trying to make live service titles that have just absolutely failed. And I'm sure they're just like, we gotta go back to what we were doing before. Like, something's not working. Let's pull this lever instead, right?
Yeah.
They've really tried. They had that Naughty Dog game that didn't come out. That was going to be like a live service. Obviously, Concord was a big flop, right? And even some of their single player games haven't been doing as well. Saros was fun. I liked it a lot. But according to reporting, it didn't really, wasn't the blockbuster I'm sure that they were hoping it was going to be. So I'm sure there's a little bit of panic right now at Sony, which is not good. I want I want games to do well. I want these companies not to just, start making dramatic decisions because they're panicking.
I want to know how the heck they're spending money over there, dude. Because when you hear about some of the figures that they're spending on games, you're just like, how?
Yeah.
Where? True. Yeah. Where did this money go, dude? You're seeing indies produce games for $30 million that are game of the year. And then Sony's like, here's a game for $700 million. And like, nobody played it. Nobody plays it. Yeah. Total insanity. speaking of games that nobody played, have you heard of Spellcast Chronicle?
Yeah, I did. Quantum
Yeah.
Dreams game. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a fairly well-known studio. They've made some decent games in the past. Not well known for making MOBAs, but they made a game. They made a MOBA called Spellcast Chronicles.
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah, it came out in early access a couple months ago.
Yeah, I played the beta demo for it, and it was awful. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It didn't run well. Like I literally couldn't get a high frame rate, and I couldn't understand what was going on the screen. It was miserable. So I literally uninstalled it within 15 minutes.
Yeah. But it looked like visually, it looked like a game that had some money behind it. Like
I'm sure, yeah.
it had some pretty high quality assets and stuff. But it does make me wonder, like, people have been trying to break into the MOBA scene also for a while, and they've been trying different ways of doing it with like, let's go more 3D and whatever. And most have not been successful. In fact, almost none of them have been successful.
One has been successful so far, and we're about to get to 2. So we have Smite 2.
Yeah.
It's the Smite franchise. That's your 3D.
Yes.
But
yes,
it's very much a League of Legends where you're kind of just, there's no jumping, you're just on lanes,
Yeah.
and going in the jungle. And then you've got Deadlock.
Yes. And Deadlock took a lot of, it's much more creative. It's not just copying the standard MOBA format.
Right. Yeah.
So you're like, it's technically a MOBA, but like very evolved in different ways.
It's not even out yet too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still got a long ways to go.
Yeah. And so that's a Valve backed game, and Valve only makes games when they're like, we have an amazing idea. Like it's an idealistic situation to be in to only make games when you have a great idea for a game, as opposed to we're a studio, we need to make games every year or we go out of business. So it's great for them. And I'm glad that's doing well. But yeah, man, trying to compete in a MOBA market with ideas that are not particularly, when you look at it, you're like, yeah, that looks like League of Legends or something, like that's not enough to differentiate yourself. You're trying to make yourself look just like League of Legends, but 3D, and then being like, yeah, this will definitely compete. Yeah.
It's definitely tough for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that game had some money behind it, and it made it a couple months in early access.
It's just interesting that they went from single player, like very heavy single player story driven games to, we're going to try live service MOBA. And it's like, that's, fine if that's what you guys want to do. But yeah, interesting pivot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could argue Bungie tried the same thing, going from Destiny to Marathon was a pretty big pivot in game style and whatnot. Then again,
a little bit more, similar, but I hear what you're saying.
Slightly more similar. Then again, I would argue that transitioning from Halo to Destiny was also a very big pivot, right? Like, yeah, Halo fans,
and they did that very successfully.
Yeah, they did it very successfully. But I can't imagine a lot of Halo fans were like, hell yeah, like Destiny is definitely what I wanted next. Like, yeah. So.
But don't worry, all those Halo fans were still getting Halo content.
Yeah. I want studios to be able to make whatever they want. And I think, what's interesting is like, and I've heard this term used a little bit, is like affinity, where like you look at Blizzard and they make a bunch of different games, right? They've gone RTS, they've gone MOBA, they've gone MMO. But they kind of exist within similar affinities of like, these are fantasy games, or these are kind of like cutesy sci-fi world games and lovable animated characters and stuff like that. And they sort of stay within that affinity, if that makes sense. So they've got like a style, a vibe, almost a studio branding style, if you will, to like the way their games feel and look. And yet they're still able to move around from pretty drastically different genre. I mean, they've got Diablo, right? So you've got, completely different games in terms of how they play, but they kind of feel like they're built by the same studio. They have that same kind of vibe that people like that comes out of that studio. So I think you can do it. But yeah, clearly
it's
not.
Tough.
Clearly not in Spellcast. Yeah. So you've been playing Forza more, Matt?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it a lot. I'm slightly addicted to it for sure.
Cool.
The game's ton of fun. I've now got, I think, all of the wristbands, I believe. Maybe there's like one more that when you like do 100% of the game, I don't know. But been doing multiplayer now. I've been just exploring, trying to unlock cars. It's a blast. But I gotta say, and some other people these days have also taken notice, the difficulty and some of the drivatars are a little insane. I was playing on highly skilled for a while, and I got to the point where I was just winning every race, winning every single time. Then you bump it up to expert difficulty, and the game's like, you're never winning again. I'm like, okay.
And that's the next level up.
Yeah, that's the next level up.
Wow. Okay.
Not obviously ever again. Like you can win, but the one thing that people are noticing is that these drivatars are insanely aggressive when you get to higher difficulties, where it's not necessarily that if you were just running a 1v1 against them, you could probably like eke out and get a victory, but you're in like the back of the field at the beginning, and you're trying to get through these cars that are literally just sideswiping you in every single corner. So you go for a corner, you got a good line, and they're just like, nope, you're going off the side, and it's just over and over and over and over again. You're like, I can't drive like this. This is insane.
Yeah.
And so when you finally get past the cluster of all those vehicles slamming into each other, you got first place that's like a mile ahead now. And you're like, I can't catch them. Like, there's no way I can catch them. So they have acknowledged that they're going to be looking into the difficulty, and hopefully that means they can maybe tone it down. Because I don't want the game to be easy. I don't want easy dubs, right? Because that's why I'm no longer playing on the highly skilled difficulty, because it was too easy. It's like I'm just driving now. That there's no that back and forth. I want that back and forth, and I think that's what people are craving. But I also want to feel like I have a chance to get first, right? And that's the rub.
Did they start you off in last every time?
You're not like last place. You're like ninth or somewhere around there.
Okay.
Or more the middle of the pack. Multiplayer, it will be random, so it'll just put you somewhere, right? But for single player, and you're just going against the AI, it usually puts you in the middle of the pack, because that's where it's more fun, right? You're passing cars. That's what makes it enjoyable, right? So one strategy people have been using is to literally like slam into the vehicle as they're near like a ridge to launch them off the side, and then you just drive off, right? So
the game doesn't penalize you for that?
Not in single player, no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In multiplayer, it does, like we were talking about before. If you hit like a wall too fast, it will slow you down. And if you try to like ram other players at too fast of speeds, it'll recognize you're going too fast, and then you'll like ghost through them. So it at least has those protections in multiplayer, but no, not for single player.
That's pretty funny.
There's this one mission where I'm like, I don't know how to beat this. Like, I literally can't get out of this pact within the first like half of the match. And I'm like, it's so demoralizing, because I'm like, I want to be able to I want to beat this on expert, right? I can do it on highly skilled. I just can't figure out what you're supposed to do. So it's a little frustrating. So besides that, it's still a lot of fun. Still absolutely just enamored with it. Really cool vibes, and I'll probably be playing more.
Cool. It's interesting, because racing AI has got to be pretty complicated to figure out. Like, I can't even think about how you would I really can't think about how you would try and simulate realistic driving AI, because there's so much nuance to it. Like, I mean, obviously following a line is one thing, but then when you get into the nuance of drafting and cornering and all that stuff, you're like, there's a lot going on there that you gotta...
The AI cheats too, because they get like crazy grip, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why they're slamming into you. Not only that, I think they're just designed to be more aggressive, but I think their car recognizes like, hey, I don't need to slow down here, because my car doesn't have your grip restrictions like you do. And so they're like, I'm just going to take this faster because my car can do that. Sucks to be you, right? And I think that's what's causing some of those problems. I could be completely off base. I'm not a developer, obviously.
I know, but that would make sense, where if you're having trouble, because again, this sounds like it would be something really hard to do. But giving your cars better grip, then you're like, all right, now they don't have to be quite as aware of their mass and momentum as they go
Right.
around stuff. They're just told to try and stay on the track, which is much easier to do when you stick to the track. Then all you got to do is turn the wheel, you know.
What's interesting is, and this is one thing I love about Forza Horizon 6, is I normally don't like rally and dirt races in previous games. I just don't find them entertaining. They are so much fun in this.
Yeah.
The way your car like bounces and jostles around, like, you know, when you watch the rally races, like it's insane. It's like controlled chaos. And they've somehow been able to replicate that in this so well, where I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm just zooming around these tracks, you know, go like not even really having a break, but just like controlled chaos, right? It's super exciting and fun. But
I didn't know they had rally racing in Forza. Is it the hill trail rally racing stuff?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's probably not as advanced as like, you know, your rally
dirt
exclusive ones. Like, dirt. Yeah. It's not like that. But whatever they've done, for me, it resonates with me a lot more this time around. But you don't have to, so you have the brake lines, right? And a lot of times on Rally, you can ignore those more. And I don't think the AI is ignoring them as much as you, right? So they're braking like they would in Street, but you don't need to. And so you can really kind of use that to your advantage and blow past them. So for expert difficulty on Rally, I'm winning more reliably, and it actually feels like the difficulty I would want for street races and things like that. So there's clearly a disconnect between the two different style of racing, and it would be really annoying to have to like swap between very high or highly skilled and expert depending on what race you're playing, right? Like you want it to be consistent through all of them.
Yeah. Dude, rally racing is the most insane sport ever.
Like, it's bananas.
Do they call out like the turn numbers and stuff?
No, they don't do that. No.
Okay, so but you have like a little line that gives you.
Yeah, you can follow.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
That's the hardest part of rally racing is like games like Dirt. They'll tell you the turn and the number because that's how they do it in real life. Is you have your co-pilot, your co-driver, who's got like a little spreadsheet that he's flipping through, and he's like, "All right, you know, left 6 or something like that," and that tells you what type of turn is coming up because you can't see around the turn ahead of you,
right?
And it's like a however many mile long track that never repeats, so you can't memorize it, and so you just have to have this dude that's like, "All right, you just got to turn real hard here and just hope that I got my notes right, or we're gonna fly off a cliff."
You have a mini map in this game, so you can see what's coming ahead.
Okay, well that's nice. But yeah, in real life, can you imagine trying to do that in real life, dude?
Bananas.
Because they have clips of these guys flipping out, and they like fly into they fly into a forest and hit like 5 trees, and you're just like, that seems super unsafe. They pack them into this like.
What blows me away is they're traveling at the speed and the cars look like they're literally going to fall off the track at any given moment. And you've got people like on the side of the road being like, God. I'm like, what are you doing?
Dude.
Why would you put yourself in that situation?
Yeah. People die at those events because they're like, let me stand out in the road and get a photo of these cars going by. And you're like, you lunatic. Like there's 1,000 pictures of rally cars online. You want to put your life on the line to be like, oh, check out this cool photo I got, dude.
Yeah.
So insane. Yeah. And also that's like, you're like, 1, you're assuming you can get out of the way fast enough. And 2, you're assuming that driver isn't sliding off the road at that particular moment, which can absolutely happen at any moment. So you're just like, well, rolling the dice today.
Yeah.
For a photo.
Mm-hmm.
If I went to one of those races, I would stay on the inside of the turn so that more than likely the driver would go off the outside of the turn.
The outside of the turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understeer.
Yes. Not to say that it can't happen on the inside, but more likely is that
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'm glad you're having fun with Forza. I watched, it was a good race weekend for me. We had F1, we had a sprint race for F1, and then we had the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600, which was on
baby
Amazon Prime. So that was fun to watch a bit of. It's 4 hours. I didn't watch the whole thing. It's too long, but
it's respectable.
I got into it. Actually, one of the NASCAR legends died last week.
Oh no.
Kyle Busch?
Like in the race or
no, he had
like old
he had what's that what do you get when you get like really sick and they put you in the hospital? It's like what the standard cold can turn into once you start getting fluid in your lungs.
Pneumonia?
Yes. So he got pneumonia, I believe, and then he didn't get it. He was racing and like kind of ignoring it, and it went septic and he died. Like,
Oh my God, that's terrible.
yeah, he was 41 and like one of the best drivers in the sport. It's really crazy. But it kind of brought up
Well,
a
that's
discussion. I was reading a discussion about it where they were talking about how racers, it's a weird sport because you can do the sport while you're sick, unlike
yeah.
other sports that require, like, I mean, you can do all sports when you're sick, I guess, but you would see a much bigger impact in something where it's like a running sport and you're like
Uh-huh.
wheezing, you're not going to be able to do
Yeah, you're not
much.
gonna be able to sprint. Yeah.
Yeah, but in a racing sport, you're going to be exhausted, but you can still make the car go fast. You know, your reaction times are going to suck, but you can still make the car go fast. And
Yeah, but I feel like your reaction times when you're traveling at this speed is kind of important to not crash into something.
yeah, absolutely. But there's just a big, long history of racers racing in really bad health conditions in races. And for whatever reason, that's sort of like what they're expected to do, or they push themselves and don't tell anybody how sick they are, or whatever it is. And
it's not good.
there's been multiple cases of this where racers become hospitalized over like something that was definitely treatable, where they're just like, yeah, I just ignored it because, you know, I decided to push my body physically over and over and over again while I was super sick. And so unfortunately, I think that's what happened to this guy. And it really sucks because you're like, dang, you know, like,
yeah.
I watched a documentary on him a couple of years back, and I was like, man, this he's kind of like the bad boy of NASCAR, which is saying something. And he's entertaining. There's clips of like how proper F1 drivers are and how improper NASCAR drivers are in like interviews. And of course, it was a clip of this guy just saying the like worst things you could ever say on camera.
Wildest things.
Yeah. You know, race finishes and he's pissed off and he just lets loose. And you're like, oh my God, you shouldn't say that. And then like F1 is like Sir Lewis Hamilton speaking in a very
Sir Lewis. Yeah.
very dignified manner. I always laughed at those, but anyway.
Still a shame though.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I did enjoy watching some racing this weekend. NASCAR's fun, I gotta say. It is fun. I hope it does well. I think one of the main criticisms of it is it's like one of those sports, and this is my issue with American football, is that it's on like 50 different networks. So you're like, let me just follow my team. Oh, that's impossible unless I subscribe to like a billion different things.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
So you're just like, okay, I guess it's Sunday Night Football and we're going to watch whatever game.
Whatever's there.
They want us to watch. I'm like, I don't care about these teams, whatever. And so F1's nice. You watch all the races in one place. NASCAR, apparently it's like all over the place also. So you're like, I don't know. It just seems like the networks in a way are kind of killing the popularity of some of their sports because they're fighting.
Probably for greed.
Yeah, for sure. For greed. They're all fighting over it. And you're like, make it easy for people to watch what they want to watch. And then the popularity will grow naturally. But it's like, nah.
Which would potentially benefit them even more in the long run.
Yeah, but you know, everybody's got to own their little cut of it for whatever reason.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Was there an update for Deep Rock Galactic?
So Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core is a brand new video game. Literally, it is not Deep Rock Galactic, even though that's in the name. I didn't hear
about this. Okay.
Yeah, it's a roguelite. It is. So they were like, hey, this Deep Rock did very well. Rock and Stone brother. Let's make a bunch of spinoffs. And there was the Survivors game, which was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I think that one came out in 1.0, and now they've come out with this, which is, as I said, is a roguelite.
Early access?
Yes, it is early access, and it's got some early access jank. So the game itself is you go in with literally nothing. You come in with your class. Which you have that, but you don't start with a weapon. You don't start with like grenades or anything like that. You go in and you pick it as you go throughout the level, right?
Okay.
So it gives you at the very beginning a bunch of different weapons you can choose from, but it's not like the full list. So you have to be like, okay, this run I'm going to go for this build, right? And then as you go along, you gather a particular resource, and that will then allow you to level up, and it gives you upgrades, just like any other roguelite,
sure,
right? Where you're getting loot. The problem that I have with it, well, actually, before we get to the problem, the whole gameplay loop is you try to go deeper and deeper each level. You have like a little timer that's like, hey, you gotta get moving, which kind of makes sense because if you could just go and try and scavenge every single upgrade point on the map, you might become too powerful, and that becomes a balancing issue. So I see why there is a bit of a timer, because then, it could become problematic. But you try to get to the final level, the final depth, and then you fight like a boss, which is cool, and then successfully extract. And then that completes your run. And then you can use the points that you made from that to upgrade your character a little bit and make yourself more powerful or unlock certain things, just like any other game.
Yeah.
The issues with it are, unfortunately, it's supposed to be a first-person shooter, but my goodness, there is no ammo. Like, there is a weapon that I got where if I held down the trigger, I would be out of ammo in 15 seconds. And then you would think that, like, oh, there must be ways for you to resupply reliably, right? No. There are a couple of places around the map that you will be able to, like, get some of your ammo back, but it's only half of your ammo. And so you're in a situation where it's like, I am not able to shoot in a first-person shooter because they've been so, like, restrictive with it. And this was a common occurrence where I was like, I'm just constantly out of ammo. The game is designed around multiplayer, which is cool. And so you're supposed to be relying on your teammates. And some of the classes do focus more on melee. And, you're supposed to be using some of that synergy to come out on top. But like, big sticking point was like, I'm not having fun because I'm not actually able to shoot the enemy. They also have a system where, because it's co-op focused, where if you get an upgrade, everyone has to congregate around the upgrade station. Everyone. And if someone goes off and does something, no one's getting an upgrade.
That's annoying.
And so not only do you have to like sit and wait, which means you're not getting resources to then upgrade your stuff, you then sit there and every single one of you has to pick from a list. You get to pick one, and then when you pick that, it no longer available for the other person down the line.
Yeah.
So it's like you're just like, the game stops for like 2 minutes while everyone's like looking at the screen.
Why not just let the first person pick one, and then the next person who comes in gets second choice?
Or it just comes up with a screen. It's like, hey, you guys get 1 minute. Pick these are all the things you get.
Yeah. It's just on your screen wherever you are. Yeah. What a crazy concept.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so also don't limit it to just like the idea that like, hey, I could really use this upgrade, but then this random on your team picks it before you because they were, in line before you was very annoying. It was very frustrating.
I don't like that idea.
I don't like it. I don't like it either. I didn't like it either.
Yeah, it should be personal, right? It's like you could pick one of these three, and that's you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
so
screw
even though
over your teammates that you're trying to work together with.
If you were coordinating with buddies and you were all like, hey, I really need this works for me, you get more choices than you would in a standard roguelite, because most don't usually give you like 6 options, right? They give you like 3. So technically it's giving you more options if you do have the coordination, but if you're just with randoms, it's out the window.
Super frustrating. So like you said, it is early access. So
and they are taking feedback. They already have acknowledged that there are pain points with the ammo and with the UI and with the the pacing of the game completely stops with the upgrade system. And so they've acknowledged that. I'm sure they're going to fix it. But I played for a couple of hours. I'm like, this just doesn't have the sauce yet.
Gotcha.
It's got kind of that deep rock fun, right? But they definitely need to iron out a lot of those kinks. Because for me, it was enough to be like, I want to play this. But there's roadblocks and stuff in the way that are making it more challenging to enjoy.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's funny because they keep coming out with updates and new games in this franchise. It's funny how big Deep Rock has become as just sort of like an IP. Yeah. Like, it's kind of a goofy, weird idea, but like people love it, and that's great. And they've tried a bunch of different variations on it. So this is the latest one. It sounds like there's something there, and it sounds like they're willing to like work it out. But yeah. Everybody's making a roguelike these days. It's you get it, man. It's appeal.
A popular genre.
Yes, indeed. Sometimes I'm like, man, it would have been easier if I had just made a roguelike with my own game.
I mean, you still could.
I honestly, like, there's days where I'm like, I think it would be faster to pivot and turn everything we have into a roguelite than making a large open world video game, with missions and characters and all this other stuff. I'm like, it'd be just so much easier if we had one gameplay loop that we just had to iron out and get all that stuff. So I get it, man. It's sort of the easy route to go. I don't want to say easy route because there's definitely a lot of complex roguelites, but
if you want to do it well.
Yeah, if you want to do it well, but it's easier to like kind of refine it. Yeah.
In terms of like long-term engagement, it can be the thing that, keeps people coming back. Because it's got that random factor, right?
Well, it's not only the long-term engagement, but it's kind of lower asset overhead and lower production overhead. Yeah. So you're like, man, it's sort of a win-win if you do it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not easy though, but just maybe. Easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Now I don't know if you saw my announcement trailer, Matt, but I got some cool game news for you on my side.
Yeah, would you like to disclose?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm getting published. My video game is getting published by a little old publisher known as Hooded Horse, and I'm pretty excited about that because
proud of you, big man.
Thank you, man. They were sort of they're kind of like one of my top picks from publishers, and
I can imagine
it was cool. I put a lot of work into reaching out to different publishers, and I gotta say I'm pretty like honored that so many of them were like interested in working with me, and I felt like I was in a really good position to sort of make a big old pro and con list of everybody. But Hooded Horse, I like them. I've heard incredibly good things about them for being really developer friendly publishers. And having like non-aggressive contracts and really supporting devs and caring about the projects and all that stuff. And so yeah, that really made the choice a bit easier there. So we signed up with Hooded Horse, and I'll actually be talking about it a little bit more in depth in my next devlog on all the fun details around that. But
that's awesome, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like a real game developer now. Like, these guys believe in me. Yeah.
And you go through the catalog of all the Hooded Horse like published games, and you're like, yeah, no, this is good company. This is very good company.
Yeah, they've got a good track record. They pick games that they believe in, that they're excited about. I've already been talking to people in the studio, and they're all like very familiar with the game and excited about it. I'm like, wow, you guys don't seem like the normal like corporate people that are just assigned to help me with something. They're like, oh yeah, C-Beam's sick, dude. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's encouraging.
It's a nice feeling.
I know. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I'm like, okay. I thought I would be able to chill a little bit after signing a publisher, because they take a little bit of the tension out of the equation. I thought they would, but now I'm like, now I want to make a really good game, not only for the people who are following the project, but
now I want to prove myself to Papa.
Exactly. Totally. So I'm like, I got to show them that I am worthy. So
and you will.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And yeah. So anyway, really exciting, and we've managed to do a whole lot of fun stuff, which I will be disclosing in more detail in the devlog, and not talk your ear off about it on the podcast. But
don't mind.
Yeah, I know, but we could be here for an hour, be like,
and
then this happened, and then this happened,
and then this happened.
I'll save it for devlog stuff and not bore all the podcast people over it.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly recipe for success
big news
now.
It's big. Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. A very well-known indie publisher thinks we're a good game and want to publish it. So I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Now it's not just some crazy YouTuber guy making a video game. He's like, trust me, guys.
Like all the others out there.
Yeah. Actually, the Nine Kings, which is another game that they published, that was made by a YouTuber also.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. Have you heard about, we were talking a little bit last podcast about like Obsession, because I think that had a YouTuber guy that was in charge of the project, and it's kind of neat. We're seeing more creatives in this space getting real backing and being able to break out into other markets. And
Yeah.
that's fun and exciting. Like, it's obviously not like a sure thing with everybody. Like, there's plenty of YouTubers that have tried to make games and failed, or not hit the success levels rather that they'd want to hit. But early on, it was a little bit of a meme, you know, with like, say, Yogscast or something like that, trying to do their big Minecraft thing and that thing falling apart or whatever. And then it sort of set a bad tone, I think, for other people trying to do it. And they're like, oh, these YouTubers are just gonna, like, they don't know what they're doing. They can't make a video
I think it's
game.
because YouTubing is no longer niche. I think it's because so many people are involved with it. Like you had, what's his name? Tenacious D. Who's the
Jack Black?
Jack Black. Like that Jack Black started making YouTube videos, right? Like it's just anyone's making YouTube videos. So it's become the norm. So to have YouTubers now also doing other things, it's like, well, yeah, they're just people like everybody else who have passions for other stuff as well. So yeah, I think it's just become so popular and it's just so widespread now that it's just more normal for them to be making stuff out. But it is still surprising because, as you said, they're like 26 years old. And the only thing I knew them from was YouTube. And to see them make a mega hit like this is pretty incredible.
Yeah. It's really awesome. What's your breakout career going to be, Matt? Your sort of side career.
So when I'll be continuing to live stream, of course, and do that. But also on the side, I will be making I have no idea, dude. I have no idea.
I was going to say, just pull from your other interests, Matt. Expand upon those.
Pull from my other interests, which is gaming. It's literally it.
You could be an author, Matt. You could write fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do have a couple of stories in my head, some worlds that I've built, but there's no story behind it other than that.
That's another avenue that other content creators have been doing. They've been publishing books, and Matt, if you got some ideas, dude, let's get them out there. I'll read your book.
Thanks, man.
I'll give you notes. We're like, okay, what is this? Why would they do that?
Garbage. What are you doing? I do like world building, and that's why I think I love games that have like an incredible world. Saros was a really good example of this. I thought the world was really cool. Story, not as much. That's why the Souls franchise is so intriguing, is because that is literally all they are, is world building. There's very little like actual story. It's more of just the world itself. But that doesn't make for a story, right? Like the world can be really neat, but you need characters and you need a plot, and that's where the challenge comes from.
It's funny because it's like, I think a lot of games, I would even lump Destiny into this category a little bit, where if you build a really cool world, they then can get away with like vague story writing.
Yes, you can.
It always bugs me because I'm like, tell me some, because when you give me a vague story but in a cool world, I'm like, I want to know more. And then you're just frustrated by the vagueness of the story. But you still like being in the world and the vibe of it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that seems to be a thing that people fall into. And I understand not wanting to commit to a more specific, deeper story, because then you have to have really good writing. And really good writing is
tough.
It's hard, man. It's much easier to just be like, yeah, the bad guys, they're attacking. Don't worry about their backstory. Go fight. And you're just like, okay. Like, clearly they're not trying to give me a deep story. They haven't tried it hard enough where I can poke holes in the bad writing. It's all very vague. And not committing to it. And also, like, I guess like with smaller projects, getting a good writer on board could be really challenging. A big studio, you could hire a writing staff or something and put together the whole team, and they're all synergized and aligned on what the goal is for the game and all that stuff. But smaller studios and stuff, it's got to be challenging. It's like kind of like it becomes a core premise of the game design in the first place. So it's like, okay, what are we good at as a studio? Well, we've got really good writers. Cool. Let's do something narrative. Or it's like, oh, we've got fantastic level designers. Okay, let's do a really immersive looking world game or something. It's like you sort of have to build around the talent you have. And writing is not one of those things that you can just kind of add in when you think the game needs good writing or something. It's like you got to build it from the core up with that in mind.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, off of my random vague rants about stuff.
I'm here for it.
You read anything good? How's your new
I am
fantasy
reading
book?
through the Sun Eater series, but it is going to be a process. It's going to take me months, so I ain't even going to give you updates because it's a slow process.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I mostly watched racing over the weekend, but I'm finding this weird thing where like I'm going back to watch older movies that I'm like, this is really well reviewed and I don't think I've seen it. And then we start watching it. I'm like, oh, I think I've seen this, like, but it doesn't happen until I'm like a third of the way through the movie.
Like, this is oddly familiar.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. I know what he's going to do next. Hang on. I must have seen this. These movies aren't even that old, Matt. They're like 2013, 2014. Over a decade.
You gotta pay attention to the movies you're watching so you can remember.
Well, I watched a really good movie that it's I guess you could call it a romantic comedy. It's certainly billed as a romantic comedy, but
you sure like your rom-coms.
I do like them. I don't know.
You do watch a fair amount.
My middle age movie choices are like rom-coms now. They're like, here's a horror movie, and I'm like, nope, keep that thing away from me.
Yeah, I want to watch some lighthearted romantic comedies, please.
Military action movies now too. I'm like, I'm not. They have to be really good. I do want to see that new George Washington movie. That looks kind of cool. But otherwise, yeah, rom-com stuff I'm for. But anyway, we watched a movie called About Time. Have you seen that one?
Is that the time traveler one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
So very sad.
Yeah, it was a real heartstrings film. So good, really good messages in the film. Like I was kind of amazed at how good it was. And I know this is an old movie. It's from 2013, 2014, something like that. And yeah, halfway through watching, I'm like, I've seen this. I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it was just funny watching stuff again. I'm like, wait, have I seen it? Or did I just watch the trailer for it? And do I think I've seen it?
Yeah.
That one's fantastic. And it has some incredible message. It's such good messages in that movie. And it sort of starts off as a rom-com, but really evolves into like more of a like just general life lesson film, which with kind of feel good moments, a lot of like, sort of heartfelt moments, but the general message is solid, which is about like kind of enjoying his
conversations with his dad.
Yeah.
I'm getting teary-eyed just remembering. Those moments were good.
It's a hard movie to make it through without shedding any tears.
Yeah.
It's solid. So that's my blast from the past movie recommendation that I'm like, oh man, this was such a good movie. It's worth a rewatch, especially if you don't remember watching it the first time.
You don't remember watching it exactly.
This is great. I've got a decade worth of movie memory, so anything older than a decade, I'm like,
God damn it!
I get to watch this again like it's brand new. It's fantastic.
I don't know if that's how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's when it first came out, I wasn't into rom-coms, and so maybe I watched it with like my wife and then was like, whatever, like maybe tuning out or something. Who knows? Really don't know. But
yeah.
Really enjoyed it second time around. Just gotta hit my 40s, and now I'm like, rom-coms is where it's at. But I do want to see Obsession, and I do want to see Backrooms, dude. Have you seen the trailer for Backrooms?
I have, yeah. It looks good.
Yeah. Did Backrooms start off as a game thing?
I don't know if it was a game, but that's where it gained popularity, yeah.
Yeah. I think it might have been like an idea, and then somehow that idea resonated in the machinima world, where like they started making videos with it using like Gary's Mod and other stuff. And then it became like a big old thing where now we have tons of liminal space style games.
I watched a video on it. Apparently, the original Backroom inspiration came from a photo. It came from, there was someone who took a photo of I think it was a furniture store that was doing a renovation, and they took a photo of everything that was removed, and it's literally like the yellow walls with nothing in it. Yep, that's where it all came from, and then people just ran with it on the internet and just started making backstories to the back rooms, and it became this cultural niche thing.
It's such a weird, funny concept that somehow resonates with everybody. It's got that, I swear that that Apple TV show Severance is like inspired by that, because their office is very backroomsy.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
just got that weird liminal space of like, it's sort of like a fever dream of what an office environment is, And then I played a Steam game maybe a year ago called Pools, which just takes an indoor pool environment and does the same thing. And it's just like inherently creepy, but fascinating at the same time. And you're like, it's just like, what if the way that we build stuff becomes like sort of a fractilinear pattern or something and just propagates itself indefinitely, and it's super creepy.
I think a part of it is the creepy factor is that you associate those places with people. And when the people are gone, you're like, something feels off. And that's what causes the anxiety and the fear, right? Is something about this, my brain and because we're really good at making pathways and connections and patterns, and it's outside of our pattern. We recognize it, but there's something wrong with it. And that's what causes the fear. And then you add, some horror elements into it, and it just compounds on itself.
And sort of an endlessness to it. It's sort of endless labyrinth version of normal everyday spaces. And you're like,
right,
I don't like this at all. An endless pool room, an endless office space. Like, it's all kind of terrifying.
I mean, it's why horror is set in like hospitals and set in, like a mall or something. Like if you go to a mall and it's completely empty, it's like, feels weird. What's going on? Yeah.
That'd be a good liminal space, is just an endless mall. Ugh, good. I don't even like it.
I have dreams like that.
Yeah.
Fun.
I mean, that's kind of like what some of those mega malls are, Mall of America and stuff, where you're just like, it's like a gigantic, endless entertainment center for any.
You'll never have to leave ever.
Yeah. Terrifying stuff. You know what I really liked, and I want to give this game a shout out because I think they had such good ideas, and I do still think the game might do okay once they can. I haven't checked in on it in a while, but Forever Winter, you remember that game?
Yeah.
It's sort of I guess it's an extraction shooter where you can kind of build up your home base a bit in between drops. We played it, I believe.
Yeah, we played this. Yeah. You kind of were acting like we hadn't played it, but
no, I wasn't sure what the development status of it is right now.
Not great if the recent reviews are mixed.
Yeah, I think they made a lot of money on early access, and I think they're funneling that back in. So hopefully they can kind of gray zone warfare themselves out of a weak launch product and build it into something more playable.
Because it's been almost 2 years since it came out, September of 2024. So
yeah. Well, the reason why I wanted to bring them up is that they have this really fun aesthetic, and part of the like lore building of their world is like in the future, these like kind of machine armies have like gone out of control, or the people controlling them have died. And so they're sort of on these weird autonomous routes and doing stuff. And they have a world that's like 3D printed, where there's like massive construction 3D robots that are just like 3D printing things, but like nobody's really controlling them. So they're like demolishing areas and then rebuilding them. And it all turns into this weird, like creepy version of like what something like a city should look like, but it's actually nothing. And you're just like, oh, that's a really fun, creepy idea.
That is a very cool idea. I like that.
Yeah. I'm like, that's such a cool, I like these like apocalypse narratives have always been fun because they're just like a fun, crazy way to think about like the future or whatever. And it makes for
what if.
Yeah, the what if. It makes for great sci-fi and great horror. But as we get new technologies like 3D printing and AI and all that stuff, we're like, well, now the apocalypse could look very different. We think about different ways the apocalypse could happen, and it leads to all kinds of fun dystopian futures. There's a sci-fi movie that I like that I don't think got a lot of attention, but it's, in my opinion, it's very much worth a watch, called Vesper. And it's an apocalyptic future, but where sort of bioengineering is like at the core of it all. So it's like people some utopia class ends up living in these domed off cities that are protected from the hostile environment that the Earth has turned into. And then the story takes place following characters that live in this hostile environment, and like the world is just like turned into these like killer plants and like weird crap, and all their technology is like biotech. So their computers like have like fungal screens or something like that like
That's cool.
update their colors based on like bio input, and their power generators are like just these sacks filled with like weird chemicals inside of them that like make electricity, and they got all this weird stuff going on. And at one point, some of the characters are being hunted down by these like elite mercenaries sent from the like utopian cities. And they have all these bizarre weapons. Like they have this fungus grenade that I really liked. I thought it was so cool, where like somebody's trying to hide in a building and they throw a grenade in through the window and the grenade explodes, and this fungus just starts growing all over the whole room, searching for them. And so it like starts growing up the walls and up the chairs and tables, and they're like trying to climb on a higher and higher stuff on top of a table and chair so that the fungus doesn't touch them and like either trap them or alert them. And I'm like, whoa, that's some crazy tech ideas. Apparently the whole movie was written by like bioengineers. Like they wrote the script. So
what's it called?
Vesper. It's super weird. It's not a happy movie for sure.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like a happy movie.
But there's a lot of weird crap in it where you're like, oh my God, that's like these crazy viruses that we see in the like animal kingdom, but they've like applied it to like the human kingdom. And now there's like weird people that turn into these like zombies that just go around and pile things in places. And you're like, why did they do that? And like, I don't know, they got infected with a virus and now that's their entire thing that they do. You're like, okay. So it's like, that's a fun dystopian angle that I can't stop thinking about that movie for some reason. Very creepy.
Neat.
Another recommendation. Yeah. Well, we got a lot of stuff going on in the game world. Anything you're looking forward to playing next, Matt?
Yeah, so this week we've got 007, which is coming out, I think if you pre-order on the 26th, so that should be for tomorrow for me and you, but yesterday for everyone else. Then Path of Exile 2 is on the 29th. This weekend there is the Hell Let Loose Vietnam beta, and that comes out, I believe, the week after or 2 weeks after that. So yeah, this week is pretty stacked.
Cool. Exciting. I think I've run through my Subnautica. I've done enough where I'm like, okay.
Did you beat the early access or?
Mm-hmm.
You did? You got to the end of it? Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's very good.
Solid.
I'm happy with it.
Yep. And it's funny because I know it's on UE5, so whenever I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, they kind of screwed up their lighting here. Like, I know how to fix this. They got to adjust it.
Yeah, there's definitely some jank in that regard.
Yeah. It's very funny though. And now if anything runs on UE5, I'm like, I know what this system is. I know what that plugin is. I know what this is. Kind of don't want to see it, Matt. It's like, I feel like that's what movie directors and people who work on movies do when they watch a film.
It ruins it for them.
Yeah. They're just like, okay, well, like clearly the lighting in the scene is bad. Like that was a terrible decision to like light with this soft tint over there or something. And you're just like, okay, well, yeah, I'm starting to notice that now with game stuff a little bit. It's not, I mean, obviously I loved playing Subnautica, but it was just funny being able to very quickly pinpoint what systems they used and how they did everything in it. And I'm like, okay, interesting. It's like the Matrix, Matt. I see the code now.
You literally see the code.
Literally see the code. Yeah. Well, on that, shall we wrap up the podcast there?
Sounds good.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for dropping by. We appreciate you. And if you appreciate us, you can check out our Patreon in the video description. We got people watching us live right now, and Patreon members get to show up for the live recording of the podcast and hang out afterwards to talk about love, life, racing, everything that's interesting to us outside of the gaming world. But regardless of that, we appreciate you nonetheless. Thanks for watching, and Matt's going to leave you with some very helpful advice.
So this week's helpful advice is related to Forza. Always remember, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Sometimes careening around that corner at Mach 5 isn't always the fastest way of actually getting from point A to point B. Though, also remember, tit for tat, if the enemy is, or if the other driver, enemy, it's not like they're your enemy, but they kind of are your enemy.
They are.
If you notice there's like a bridge and that Drivatar is looking real close to it, a little nudge off the side wouldn't hurt you necessarily. Might hurt them though. Do with as you will.
Getting into some dirty racing tactics here.
Yeah.
I hope, Matt, I want to see you turn into one of those iRacing guys who's just like obsessed with the hardcore.
Here with my big old shifter, just
yeah,
big old wheel.
Well, you know what? Like Max Verstappen, the F1 racer, he does esports racing in between normal racing, and like
I believe it.
When he does it, he's just like sitting at a desk with like a clamped on wheel and like a little shifter thing. He's not like, because I think he gets the real car experience enough where he's like, I don't need it at home. I'm just going to sit in a comfy chair and just
going to drive.
Yeah. And obviously he does amazingly at it, but like,
of course,
it's just funny where you're like, oh, the best racer in the world doesn't actually want to do all his gaming in some sort of ridiculous sim setup,
Yeah.
And yet we're all kind of like, man, wouldn't it be great if we had a ridiculous sim setup?
Well, because we don't have literally an F1 car to drive around in.
That is true. Also, you know what? When he's not F1 racing, he's like, I'll just race in GT over the weekend, and like wins the races and all the championship stuff. And you're just like, dang, man, this guy's amazing.
Guy is crazy good.
You just can't get enough racing. Yeah, F1 was off for like a week and he did like a 24-hour race. With a team, and
it's nuts.
I know. It's like, yeah, in my downtime. I'll do it 24 hours. Yeah, that does have to be fun though. If you're doing, because F1 races are like a little over an hour usually, and like going for a 24-hour race is like, okay, that's gonna put some different strains on the body.
Yeah.
All right, people. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.